Mallory shouts, third picture.
Hey, watch out, Norton. It's Blot Kramer in that desert rat get-up, making for the mine shaft.
Norton replies, yeah, looks like Rogers and Spratt are down there. These are their horses. Kramer fires another shot at Norton, then jumps down into the mine shaft himself. Roy grabs him as he comes down. Last picture, top row. Kramer says, hey, let go. I'm on your side. Jack Spratt, who has lighted the lantern, holds it up, first picture, bottom row, and exclaims, hey, look, a trigger finger missing. Jumping catfish. You're Blot Kramer. Yes, that's right, gents. I disguised myself so I could come back to Brimstone and square accounts with Norton and his cattleman's consul for running me out. At that moment, Norton and Mallory, who have ridden up to the shack, are getting out a box of dynamite. Norton is saying, hurry it up, Comp. By now, Kramer will be telling Rogers and Spratt how we framed him for rustling and ran him out of town.
Yeah, we better shut them all up so they can't talk about this rich vein of zinc on Kramer's ranch.
Quickly, they set the dynamite above the shaft as Norton lights a match, saying, I hate to cave in the shaft, but we've got to eliminate the three men who stand in our way of owning the mine.
Yeah, well, we can always dig a new hole. All right, let her blow, Norton.
The fuse is lighted. Norton and Mallory run for the horses. And then, suddenly, behind them...
Oh, did they set that terrible explosion right over Roy's head?
It looks that way from here.
Well, just think, Norton and Mallory, who are leading the cattlemen, are the ones who are really the crooks.
Yes, and Blot Kramer was innocent after all.
You know, I thought he would be after the way he helped Roy and Jack Spratt.
I felt pretty much the same way myself.
I wonder what happened to them after the explosion.
Well, we'll find out next week. And let's hope the Earth protected them from that explosion so they'll be all right.
I can hardly wait to find out.
And here's something else I bet you can't wait for. Alice in Wonderland.
Alice in Wonderland. Oh, hurry.
All right, over the page we go. Past Jungle Jim, past Perry Mason and the Lone Ranger, to page 4. And there she is, Alice in Wonderland. Say the magic words with me. And now for a story that gets curiouser and curiouser. Alice in Wonderland. So music, sir. Music, sir. Alice is at the Mad Tea Party given by the Mad Hatter and the March Hare. She's been having a wonderful time at the unbirthday party. And then suddenly the little white rabbit rushes into the garden with his huge watch saying,
Hello, goodbye. I'm late.
The Mad Hatter grabs the chain of his watch as he goes by and stops him. He says,
Well, no wonder you're late. This watch is exactly 2 days slow.
The Mad Hatter decides the watch ought to be inspected to find out why it is 2 days late. When suddenly, third picture, the March Hare steps up saying,
Mad watch.
And hits the watch a blow with a mallet, completely smashing it. Last picture, top row, the White Rabbit says sorrowfully as he looks at his smashed watch,
That watch was an unbirthday present.
Whereupon the Mad Hare and the Mad Hatter say,
Well, then, a very, very odd birthday to you.
A very, very odd birthday to us.
And the White Rabbit looks at them sadly, then turns and scampers from the garden. Alice dashes after him, first picture, bottom row, calling,
Mr. Rabbit, please wait.
But once more, the White Rabbit disappears. And Alice finds herself at the edge of a gloomy forest. She stops, and she looks around and says,
That rabbit. I've had enough nonsense. I'm going straight home.
And then she looks up and exclaims,
But which way is home? Where am I?
And she sees a sign which points toward a little path, and the sign reads, Tulgey Wood. Alice goes down the path, last picture, saying,
It's getting dreadfully dark.
And Alice plunges blindly into the depths of Tulgey Wood, lost in Wonderland.
Oh, the poor white rabbit. His watch was smashed.
I don't think that was nice of the March Hare.
Neither do I. That March Hare and the Mad Hatter, they're mad, aren't they?
They certainly are. They're mad, and the White Rabbit's
And that doesn't make me glad.
No. Well, I hope if Alice gets home next week.
Yes, I hope she does, too. But I still, in a way, I don't hope so either, because these adventures are too exciting.
Well, next week we'll find out. Now,
Now must be time for Dick's adventures.
it is indeed. So let's go over to the very last page. And here we are with Dick's Adventures.
And remember last week, Dick had succeeded in escaping from the pirates.
Yes, they stole a boat and headed out to sea, hoping to get aboard their ship with Commander Stephen Decatur.
I wonder if they'll get there before they get captured again because the pirates are after them.
Well, let's read now and find out. Here we go with Dick's Adventures. Say the magic words with me. Riggedy-pack-a-zack-a-zick. Let's have music for adventurous Dick. In the early days of America, the year 1803, Dick, with the American Navy, which has been sent to stop the pirates from plundering their ships, has been captured and escaped from the clutches of the Bashaw of Tripoli. Dick and his party of exhausted Marines succeed in rejoining the American fleet blockading the pirate port.
Ahoy, the ship!
Quickly, the little boat draws alongside Decatur's ketch Intrepid. Dick and his friends are hauled on board. And last picture, top row, Dick is taken to the captain of the ship, commanded by young Lieutenant Stephen Decatur, who listens quietly to Dick's story. When Dick's story is finished, Decatur and he go back on deck. First picture, next row. Decatur looks toward shore, then says to Dick, "You men need rest. You'll find another American ship about 10 miles back." Dick respectfully inquires the destination of Decatur's ship. Decatur answers, "We're going back into the harbor of Tripoli to blow up the Philadelphia, which the Bashaw captured from us. You're welcome to come along, but I don't advise it." And then Decatur walks off. Dick's companions, who had escaped with him, quickly gather round to find out what Decatur has told him. There's a hurried consultation. Then, last picture, second row, Dick walks toward Decatur and tells him, "Oh, sir, I just had a conference with the rest of the men, and we've unanimously decided to go against your advice." Decatur smiles at the courage of the men and nods his head. And it's decided that Dick and his friends are to stick with Decatur in the surprise he's concocting for the pirates. That night, first picture, bottom row, under cover of darkness, the Intrepid approaches the harbor, showing no flag, with her fighting men and her cargo of destruction concealed. Through the gathering darkness, Dick makes out the captured Philadelphia lying off the port bow. All is in readiness for attack. But misfortune strikes first. Suddenly, last picture, a gale of fierce intensity sweeps down on the harbor. Look out, get those sails up, quick! Fiercely though the men fight it, the Intrepid is swept out to sea, and their opportunity of surprising the pirates is ruined. But at the moment, a more important struggle is at hand. A struggle for their lives.
Oh, wasn't that terrible? Just when it looked like they were going to sneak up on the ship.
Yes, and now they're out to sea, fighting a terrific gale. And that's a very small boat they're on, too. Against a heavy gale, they're in real danger.
Well, I only hope the Philadelphia was destroyed by that wind.
Well, we'll find that out next week. And we'll know for sure whether they're saved next week, too. But now look, here underneath Dick's Adventures.
Oh, here's Rusty Riley. And you remember last week Snowflake won the race? And that man who was sitting in the top of the Ferris wheel couldn't shoot because the detectives fooled him. They started the Ferris wheel, and it jiggled so he couldn't aim his gun.
That's right. And Mr. Crumb of Grassy Acres is a very unhappy man because his horse lost the race, and his men didn't take care of things this time.
Well, I hope the detectives in Texas fix him now because he deserves it. He's been a cheater and a crook all along.
Well, we'll find out right now. Here we go with Rusty Riley. Gallop and run till the road is dusty. Give us music for his horse and Rusty. Tex and Mr. Miles leave the stand just after Snowflake has won the race. Tex says, "Hey, there goes Crumb, boss. Straight for the Ferris wheel. Follow me. We can go around back of the shooting gallery and hear without being seen." The Ferris wheel is still going around. The two detectives have stepped away and hidden to see what'll happen next. As the engineer stops the Ferris wheel, third picture, Mr. Crumb comes up and says,
So, Nick, you had everything fixed, huh? Well, for your information, that milestone horse won.
"Well, now, listen, Mr. Crumb, I couldn't help it. Some nosy character started the Ferris wheel. I couldn't hit a barn door with that thing spinning." Last picture, top row, Crumb goes on,
This is the second time you bluffed a job for me, Nick. I paid you to fix Catfoot Kendall's sulky, and you had to make a mistake, causing an accident to my own driver.
Mr. Miles steps out, first picture bottom row, and says, "Well, Mr. Crumb, we finally see you in your true colors, huh? The association has no room for criminals like you, and I'm sure they'll take care of that when I make my report."
Oh, is that so? Well, it's your word against mine, Miles, and you ain't got no witnesses.
Whereupon Tex and the two detectives step out, and Tex says, "I reckon there won't be no special trouble about witnesses, hombre. There's me. And oh, yes, let me introduce you to Mr. Lewis and Mr. Jackson, licensed private investigators."
Well, well, listen, I'll make a deal.
You're in no position to make a deal, Crumb. You can resign from the association, write a full confession clearing Catfoot Kendall, and agree to pay for an operation on Corny Bot's broken hip, or I'll turn the matter over to the district attorney. A little later at the racetrack stable, Queenie and Tex and Rusty are gathered around Snowflake. Queenie is so happy she can hardly believe what's happened, and she asks Rusty if Snowflake really run the race. So Rusty answers, "Yes, she sure did, but you haven't heard the half of it." And Tex says, "Yep, Mr. Miles and your daddy are waiting for us out at the new farm. You're all going to live there, and your daddy's going to be the manager."
Oh, isn't that wonderful? Just everything. The crooks were captured, and Snowflake won the race, and now Queenie and her father are going to live out at Milestone Farm, and then they won't be poor and hungry anymore.
No, everything turned out just the way we wanted it to, didn't it?
Yes. I wonder what's the next thing that's going to happen in the lives of Rusty and Tex and their friends.
Well, that's something we'll have to find out. Now, that's all the time I have. But before I go, here's that nice fellow with some more interesting information. Well, honey, and all you boys and girls, I gotta go now.
All right, Mr. Comic Weekly Man, but I'll be waiting for you next week.
Okay, that's a date, and a date with all you boys and girls. Be sure to meet me with our little friend, Miss Honey, next week when I read Puck the Comic Weekly. For I'm the Comic Weekly Man, the jolly Comic Weekly Man. I'll be back to read the funnies to you happy boys and honeys. Don't forget, boys and girls, see you all next week. Your friend, the Comic Weekly Man, the jolly Comic Weekly Man.